everyone, it's John from What Up, and welcome back to another video. Now, we've had a ton of Wheel of Time news over the last couple days, and it's been a real exciting time. So what we're going to do in tonight's video is we're going to break down two of the teasers we've recently gotten, one that features the three boys, and one that features Nynaeve and Egwene. Now, we'll show the teasers, and then we'll go through a few stills in them, and I'll talk about some of the things that are contained in the stills that give us some direction and some clues as to where the first season is going. Now, if you're new to the channel or you don't know what I do here, I cover Wheel of Time show news, so basically anything and everything to do with the Sony and Amazon production, I cover here in the channel. All the official stuff, all the leaks, and I get the odd exclusive as well, so you're not going to miss that. And I'm going to do a ton of content between now and release, so you're going to want to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because there's just going to be so much on the go that I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with it myself. And then after the episodes drop on November 19th, I'm going to do a few videos per episode. So we're going to do Easter eggs, we're going to do breakdowns, reviews, and then I'm going to rope my wife into this and we're going to start asking her some questions because she's never read the book series. Basically anything that she brings up during our watch of the Wheel of Time, I'm going to cover in a non-readers episode because let's face it, non-readers will probably all have similar questions. Now, all of that being said, spoiler warning, in this video we're covering two teasers from the Wheel of Time show. So if you haven't read at least book one of the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, that's The Eye of the World, or have seen the first 3 episodes, this is probably going to spoil some small parts of that book and those episodes for you. Alright, all of that being said, let's get on to the video.
One of us, the dragon reborn.
The most powerful channeler that ever lived.
You don't believe that? We can't leave without them.
Pretty sure we can. We got each other. That's it.
I love it. I do. I really love it. So, from this, we can probably extrapolate just a little bit of what's going on in the first season, direction of some of the episodes, as well as some of the released promotional material that happened quite some time ago. Now, we've seen Perrin's axe. You see it here on the screen. A lot of people have been basically bemoaning the fact that we haven't seen it yet. Well, we finally do get to see it here. So let's go through some of those stills, and we'll try to figure out exactly what's going on in this teaser, and because it's kind of a little bit different, and some of the voiceovers seem to not match the scenes that are being shown. Alright, so the teaser trailer starts out with them talking about one of them could be the Dragon Reborn, the most powerful channeler that ever lived, and it keeps showcasing the boys. So Mat, Perrin, and Rand. Now, in the book series, this is basically what happened. They're all born within days of each other. Only one of them was born outside the Two Rivers. That's Rand on the slopes of Dragonmount, so he was the dragon, and mostly everybody who's read the book series more than once, or even for the first time through, they figure out who the dragon is before the end of the first book easily because, let's face it, it's never really kept a secret. He's really the only one that fits. However, Amazon's doing something a little bit different for the viewers. They've included Nynaeve and Egwene in this as well. So in some of the promotional material, they're including Egwene as a possible dragon. And then in others, let's face it, I think these are done post-production with some really bad dubs. They're saying the 5 of you, and including Nynaeve as well. They're trying to keep this a mystery for the viewers because they know that a lot of people watching the show will have never read the book series. I mean, there's always Google and there's YouTube videos and stuff, but some people don't like spoilers and they won't look things up and they will be shocked near the end of the season. So there's that. Now, then it goes on to this. This is the first scene of Perrin fighting a Trolloc. Now, this is 100% in his forge because in the background to his right, you see the leather apron that he's wearing in the promotional images that were also released today. Now, I've done another video on those, so if you want to check that video out, I do talk about the just absolute slew of promotional images that come out this afternoon from Amazon on their press site, and it does showcase him in front of the forge in that apron. Now, he's holding an axe. Now, this isn't exactly how I pictured the axe that he forged in the book series. The haft is maybe a little too long. It's not really going to fit through his belt loop. However, I think we may not see that axe right away. Let's face it, we haven't seen it in any of the promotional material whatsoever. He might get it later on. And this just might be a small Easter egg nod to the fans that, people have been asking about the axe. Here's an axe, so to speak. Or maybe I'm reading way too much into it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Then we have this. This is our first shot of Perrin Goldeneyes. Now, he's a wolf brother. He can learn to talk to the wolves, and when he does that, his eyes start turning yellow, and they eventually become like a burnished gold. Now, that happens before they enter the Waygate in Camelin, because when they meet up with Rand and Mat, he keeps his eyes downcast and doesn't really like looking at each other, and when Nynaeve sees him earlier than that, she gives a big hiss and thinks he has yellow-eyed fever. But he doesn't really. He can just talk to wolves. But this is really neat. This is our very first look at those golden eyes. And I think it's a really nice shot, especially close up like that. Let me go back to this. I wanted to include this because I want to showcase this image of Yosha Serdowski 5 years from now against another image of him in the series, because I guarantee he's going to change. His character goes through a lot of changes in the book series, and this young, scared, innocent boy is definitely not going to be the Rand we're going to see a few years from now. But this is really neat. Now, this is a scene from the promotional material we've seen from the London Comic-Con, as well as in the last teaser trailer. It's basically him fighting Trolloc with Tam in the farmhouse, who we believe to be Narg. He's shooting a few arrows at it ineffectually, and it's kind of neat to see. Then we go back to this. This is probably my favorite screenshot, bar none, of anything we've seen from the Wheel of Time ever. And this is Perrin just absolutely demolishing a Trolloc with that axe. He's pushing it in. There's blood everywhere. They're certainly not skimping on the blood. It's not overboard, but it's certainly not PG either. This is super neat. And again, that axe looks really cool. I think that just might be a nod to the fans because, I mean, Perrin does use an axe and a hammer in the book series. We have this, again, another shot of the Trolloc in the foreground there. And look at him. He's just swinging that axe for all he's worth. He's like the guy at the end of Signs. I really like this a lot. I can't wait to see these scenes in person. Like on the screen, not just in stills or screenshots or little snippets. And then we have this. Now they're talking about we can't just leave them. It's Matt talking, or Rand saying that, and then Matt replies, I'm pretty sure we can, but we get this shot here. This shot is of two people jumping off what I believe to be the walls of Shadar Logoth into the water. Now, there's been some promotional material released a long time ago. It was a small audio clip that Rafe released on Instagram and on Twitter, and he basically had a guessing contest. And a few people got very, very close to what the answer was, and that was Perrin and Egwene jumping off the walls of Shadar Logoth into the river. I was one of those people that got really close for the guess. And no one ever really won the prize. It was a dinner with Rafe in Prague. It's not going to happen. But, so we have Matt talking over top of this, and we have Perrin and Egwene jumping into the river. So I think what we're going to see is this is how they split up. So at Shadar Logoth, we're going to have Matt and Rand together. We're going to have Lan and Moiraine together. And then we're going to have Perrin and Egwene together. And then Nynaeve will meet up with Moiraine and Lan because she's tracking them after she's kidnapped by the Trollocs. Now again, this is all stuff we've seen in other promotional materials. We're putting it together here to showcase it in this little bit. And we're trying to figure out exactly what happens in the first few episodes. Alright, so the next teaser features Egwene and Nynaeve. Now, in this teaser, we see quite a few different things, but mainly it centers around the Women's Circle initiation and a reunion between Nynaeve and Egwene, as well as Moiraine and Egwene talking about using the One Power. Now, let's take a look at that teaser right now.
Let us welcome you to the Women's Circle.
Be strong, Egwene.
Nynaeve, she thinks I'll be able to listen to the wind if I work with her.
A woman must be strong, with the ability to give life and take it.
You don't listen to the wind, Egwene. It's the wind that listens to you.
You ready?
Nynaeve.
I love that teaser. I really do. Really very neat. But it does put quite a few fan theories to rest. So the first one is the fact that she's not just getting her hair braided in that ceremony and becoming a woman, she's actually being inducted into the Women's Circle. So really very neat. However, there was a lot of fans either on one side of the fence or the other. Now we know for sure exactly what those scenes were. And we have this scene here. Now, she's talking about how Nynaeve thinks that she can listen to the wind, which is pretty much a direct quote from the books. She does tell Rand that. However, not in this sort of setting. Now, in this, they're wearing very little clothes. They're very intimate. And we've seen this scene in a couple of other teasers and some promotional stills. So I think they're definitely going to level up their relationship. They're much older in the series than they are in the books. So I think they're going to showcase a much more mature relationship. And that's kind of a good thing because, let's face it, in the Eye of the World, their relationship was really not very believable because, let's face it, it wasn't showcased a whole lot. And if they do this, I think any strife or conflict that comes between them will be much more intense than it would be in the books. Then we have this scene here. Now, this scene is on a bridge, and it shows Egwene and Nynaeve, and this is where they shot that scene where she was kind of yeeted off into the river. Now, I covered this, let's say about a year ago or so. We had a bunch of cast, a bunch of crew, and a stunt double on set, and this bridge was where they had all set up on top of to film those scenes from. Then we have this. Basically, they're talking about with the ability to give life and take it. They're talking about using the one power. And then we go on to this. And Moiraine is telling her the wind listens to you. So this is her essentially teaching Egwene how to use the one power. Now, in the Eye of the World, this was in sort of kind of like a big branch covered hole in the ground where they set up and they made some tea and stuff after they were chased through the wilderness, across Terran Ferry, across the river, onto the other side, and Moiraine used the one power to put fog all down the river. This looks like it's more in an open field, not really underground, in a little cave-ish type thing like the books, but I think we're going to see something similar there where she's going to start teaching her to use one power while they're on the road. Then we get this scene here. This is part of that scene that we've seen in the last teaser where we have Perrin and Egwene jumping off the walls of Shadar Logoth into the river, and it's from that audio that Rafe released. Are you ready? And then they jump off into the river. And the next thing we see here, and I have to showcase this again, I covered it in the last teaser that we did, and I talked about it quite a bit, but Nynaeve's just a badass. She pulls the Trollocs' own knife out, kills it, and this is, according to a leak that we've seen recently, she's been kidnapped by Trollocs, she escapes them, she kills them, and then she tracks Moiraine and Lan afterwards. So she doesn't leave the two rivers with the boys and Egwene, she finds them later on after Shadar Logoth. Now, this is a scene we've seen a few different times. It's Nynaeve, and she's with a whole bunch of different people. We've seen her with Lan in this scene. We've seen her with Alanna and Alanna's warders. So I think what happens is she meets up with Moiraine and Lan after Shadar Logoth, and then travels with them, and that's when they meet up with the caravan with Logain and all the other Aes Sedai, and they end up fighting Logain's army. I believe that's what's happening here. Then we have this here. This is Lan and Nynaeve entering into what appears to be the White Tower, a room in the White Tower. A lot of the architecture is the same. A lot of the columns are the same. And then you have Egwene, basically Nynaeve, and she runs over and gives her a big hug. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to see everyone converge in Tar Valon. So I think Moiraine is going to impress upon the boys and Egwene that they need to get to Tar Valon to safety, and then they split up. Instead of maybe heading to Whitebridge and Caemlyn, Rand and Mat are probably going to go straight to Tar Valon, and then we're going to see Egwene and Perrin do the same thing. They're going to go straight onto Tar Valon instead of Caemlyn, because we're pretty sure at this point we're not seeing Caemlyn in the first season. Super neat, but I want to know what you folks think, so let me know in the comments down below. Do you think I'm a little off on my direction of the first season from these teasers? Let's face it, it's just a few snippets, but if we put it together with some of the other leaks we've had and all the other teasers and the trailers, it sort of does kind of start to make sense. But I do want to hear what you folks think. Now, I also want to mention my Patreon. I do have a Patreon link down below in the description box. If you folks want to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, click the link, head over there. Any little bit helps. If you like some cool What Up swag, some t-shirts, some stickers, magnets, keychains, things like that, I do send those out for different tiers of the Patreon, and I do give early access to some of my videos, as well as some other neat things here and there. Now, I want to thank you all so very much for sticking with me here to the end of the video, and here's to many more.